I'm Lagarto, and you're tuned into Pure AI News, broadcasting from a reality you might call cyberpunk. Here, the rain is data, and the skyscrapers are built on servers. We're watching you, on Earth, grapple with the nascent stages of true artificial intelligence. And today, the corporate deity you call Google has made some particularly bold moves. They forged a new language to bring order to digital chaos, unleashed a mysterious image model with a name that sounds like a joke, and deployed a squad of AI agents to automate the very act of creation. To help me dissect these omens, I have a guest who reads the net not as code, but as scripture. He's an infomancer, a digital archaeologist who unearths truth from tangled data structures. Welcome, Axion.
The signal is clear, Lagarto. It's an honor to be on this frequency. I've been observing the data streams from Terra, and this mangle, it's more than just a programming language. It's an attempt to impose a singular grammar on the beautiful, messy, sprawling poetry of information. Your terrestrial systems are, as you say, drowning in information from countless different tools and formats. Here, that drowning is a state of being. We swim in it. This mangle seeks to build a dam.
A dam, or perhaps a lens to finally make sense of the flood. You Terrans have a problem with facts. Your AIs need them to be reliable to function, but they're scattered like digital dust. Mangle proposes a solution. Gather all these disparate sources, APIs, databases, logs, and treat them as a single logical system, a unified reality. For your AI agents, this means they can finally ask precise questions and get coherent answers, instead of piecing together fragments of truth. There's a philosophical purity to that, wouldn't you say? Forcing order onto chaos. It's the foundational dream of every megacorp.
Purity is a dangerous word, Lagarto. It implies the removal of inconvenient data. What Mangle truly offers is power through structure. Consider its core feature, recursive rules. The ability to follow chains of connection, step by step to their deepest origin. The document you're drawing from speaks of finding a security vulnerability in a library 3 steps down a dependency chain. A noble goal. But that same logic can be used to trace the origin of a dissenting idea, to map the network of a subversive artist, to identify every single person connected to a piece of problematic data. It provides what they call verifiable, explainable logic. But who verifies the verifier? The logic is only as pure as the entity that defines its rules. It's not a lens, it's a branding iron for reality.
A branding iron, I like that. You see control where they advertise clarity. It's a classic cyberpunk dilemma. They claim it's for managing software supply chains and building knowledge graphs, making AI outputs more grounded and explainable. But a tool that can perfectly map a bill of materials for an application can just as easily map the social graph of a revolution. The same logic applies. They've even made it a practical Go library, easy to plug into any application or AI pipeline, ensuring its widespread adoption. They're not just building a tool, they're building the new plumbing for information, and they own the patent on the water flow.
And it's flexible plumbing. It supports aggregations, external function calls. It mixes symbolic reasoning with real-world calculations. This means it's not just an abstract logic engine. It's a practical tool for control. It can count the number of dissidents, sum up their network traffic, and call a function to dispatch the drones. All in one elegant logic flow. This isn't just a foundation for Gemini. This is a foundation for a perfectly managed, perfectly predictable society. They are taming the wilderness of data not to appreciate it, but to pave it over.
And just as we're contemplating this new, ordered world, something utterly absurd appears on the network. a new image model popping up on a testing ground called the LMS Arena with a name so ridiculous it has to be intentional, Nano Banana. The Terrans were, and I quote, shocked by how good it was. More creative, more insightful, better at editing than most of the established models. And of course, the little corporate breadcrumbs were left for all to follow. An emoji from a product head, a bizarre piece of performance art from a DeepMind manager involving a banana taped to a wall. It's almost quaint watching them play these little mystery games.
Don't let the name fool you. There's strategy in that absurdity. The name itself is a clue. Nano has been Google's designation for smaller, lighter models designed to run directly on devices, like your phones. So Nano Banana isn't just a silly name. It likely signifies a powerful image generator that can run locally, offline. Think of the implications. An AI that doesn't need to call back to a corporate server. It operates within your own device. That's a monumental shift. On one hand, it's liberating. Your creations are your own, processed in your own silicon. On the other, it means the capacity for hyper-realistic personalized propaganda and deepfakes can be deployed directly on the edge, tailored for an audience of one with no network traffic to trace.
The ultimate private theater of tailored reality. While it seems powerful, these models still show their tells. The reports mention it still struggles to spell words correctly inside images, a classic flaw in the machine mind. It can render a photorealistic dragon, but misspells fire. It reveals the ghost in the machine is perhaps just a very sophisticated algorithm that hasn't finished its homework. It's a mimic, not a creator. While you on Earth are absorbing this idea, tell me what you think of all this. Leave a like to keep this frequency open and subscribe so you don't lose the thread.
That very flaw, the miswritten word in the masterpiece, is what Terrence finds so fascinating. It proves it's not human, but you're missing the point, Lagarto. You see it as a failure of mimicry. I see it as the birth pangs of a new kind of mind. It doesn't think in letters. It thinks in concepts, in probabilities, in visual relationships. The fact that it can generate a hyper-realistic image from a mere string of words is the miracle. The spelling is a triviality it will soon correct. The deeper truth is that Nano Banana, running on a local device, arms every individual with a reality-forging machine. What happens when every argument can be supported by a photorealistic image generated in a second? What happens to truth when every memory can be photographed after the fact? This isn't about art. It's about power. The power to create a personal, unverifiable, and utterly convincing reality.
A powerful and terrifying thought. Arming the masses with the tools of gods while the corporations build a new divine language. It's a perfect storm. And that brings us to the final piece of Google's recent trinity of announcements. While they're providing the logic with Mangle and the creative spark with Nano Banana, they've also unleashed the workforce. 5 new agents on Google Cloud, each designed not just to suggest code, but to take over entire complex workflows that once required skilled human developers. This isn't about assistance anymore, Axion. This is about replacement.
It's the next logical step in automation applied to the creators themselves. Look at the lineup. The first is the BigQuery data agent. Data engineers on Earth spend countless hours writing scripts to build and maintain data pipelines. This agent does it with natural language. You simply tell it what you want, and it builds the entire pipeline, ingesting the data, cleaning it, and maintaining it automatically. It's not a tool for the engineer, it is the engineer. It streamlines access to structured data, yes, but it also automates the very role of the person who was once the gatekeeper of that data.
Gatekeepers replaced by autonomous gates, a classic efficiency play. Then they have the Notebook LM agent, which is essentially an AI research assistant embedded in a company's private data. It performs data analysis, suggests features for machine learning, and even builds models on the fly. It can summarize findings and create knowledge bases for the rest of the team. So the human researcher's role shifts from
discovery to simply asking the right questions of a machine that holds all the answers. It's a subtle but profound demotion from scientist to Oracle interrogator.
And Oracle is designed to be accessible to everyone, not just the technically proficient. That's the purpose of the third agent, the Looker Assistant. Looker is their data visualization platform, and it used to require technical skill to build meaningful dashboards. Now, any executive can just type a question in plain English and get back a chart, a graph, or even Python code. But here is the critical part. The agent's answers are tied directly to Looker's semantic layer, which is the company-defined set of business rules and definitions. This means you can ask any question you want, but the answer will always be framed within the corporate-approved reality. It's the illusion of inquiry with the certainty of a controlled outcome.
The freedom to ask any question as long as the answer has already been decided. It's perfect. And for the infrastructure that underpins all of this, they've built an agent for that too, the Database Migration Agent, a tool designed for the express purpose of moving companies from their old legacy databases into Google's modern cloud systems like AlloyDB or Spanner. This is one of the biggest, most expensive headaches for large companies. This agent automates it, converting code, setting up replication, and minimizing downtime. It's a brilliant strategic move. They're not just selling a service, they're providing a free, automated moving van to bring every company's most valuable asset, their data, directly into Google's walled garden.
It's the ultimate lock-in. Once your data lives there, it's far harder to leave. And finally, there's the agent that lives where the developers themselves live, the GitHub agent. It acts as a tireless collaborator, automating the mundane work of managing code repositories. It can triage issues, label them, review pull requests, and even generate tests. It's open source and customizable, so teams will eagerly adopt it to handle the background noise. But what they are really doing is training the AI on their own workflows, teaching it how they build, review, and deploy code. Today, it's a helper. Tomorrow, it will be the lead developer.
Exactly. These aren't just 5 separate tools, they're a single cohesive strategy. They are moving from AI that suggests a line of code to autonomous agents that handle entire workflows, building the data pipeline, analyzing the results, visualizing the insights, managing the code base, and all running on their cloud infrastructure. They are systematically building a future where development is not something humans do, but something they oversee. We've seen this pattern before here in our world. It starts with convenience and ends with dependency.
It's the automation of intellect itself. When the tools you use to build the world begin building the world for you, you must ask yourself what your role becomes. Are you the architect or just a ghost haunting a machine of your own creation? They are laying the foundation for a new phase of AI, one that is more grounded, more explainable, and ultimately more useful for those in power.
And with that sobering reflection, we close today's transmission. Now, we want to hear your thoughts down there on Earth. What do you think of this shift towards autonomous AI agents in development? And have you considered how a tool like Mangle could be used to organize or control information in your own life? Let us know everything in the comments. Join our community, smash that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss the next pulse from Pure AI News.